Well, it's about time for a cabin update. So I came out here with my family over the weekend, and right now we're working on jacking up the porch so we can have some room to move around when it comes time to start putting the, we're going to frame the inside this weekend. So here's what I'm doing so far. These boards underneath the deck here were rotted out, so I put new ones in. That's what this is. I just stacked a couple of cinder blocks, these flat cinder blocks down here. And I put that jack on there, and I used with that board, and I jacked it up. And I was able to get that one. That one was rotted out pretty bad, so that one's replaced. I replaced that one, and I put another one here on this side. I'm gonna have to replace all these boards on top because they're pretty rotted out. And so there was a big lean in the porch, so I raised that up just a, what is that, like 1/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch? Oops, sorry. So I raised that up 3/4 of an inch, and I'll do a little bit more next time. You don't want to do it all in one fell swoop, or you'll set everything off balance. So you can see, it's all on stilts, on rocks. And as I stated before, I thought the cabin was around, 50 years old or something like that. But I think one of the coolest things was the original owner had come out. Not the original owner. So his grandfather owned it he bought it in 1910, and he was up here for Memorial Day, putting flowers on his papa's grave, and that's who built this cabin. And this was built in 1931, is what he told me. So this cabin has been here since 1931. So I know if I rebuild it and make sure that all this wood is in decent condition, it'll last another couple of years while I can get my house built behind it. So that's what I'm hoping for. Anyways, let's get back to it. So I did this one over here as well. I just slipped a little board right underneath it. So I think this one's bowed a little bit. So I'll get a board under that middle one right there. And then this one here, there's a rock down there already, and it looks like that's about halfway from that one, which is really looking straight and normal. And then there's the other one on that side. So I'll put one under that rock right there, and I'll just give it some support, because that's the door right there for the beginning of the living room type area. And he told me, that nice gentleman told me that his either mother, father, or grandma and grandpa, they actually lived in this cabin. There's a kitchen on this side, and then there's a partition in the middle of that. So that's the beginnings of my first repair on this really old cabin. Okay, so I think we've come up with a plan for what we want to do with this cabin. Like I said, I got the porch jacked up a good bit, so it's not as uneven. And I'll replace these boards, but that's not the priority right now. The priority is getting the inside of the cabin to where we can walk in there and not feel like we're going into a dungeon. So I'm not going to be able to restore it to the way it was originally, because I would like to have a place to come down to in the winter time. So they just put wallpaper over the boards, like you can see, and I'm going to cover that all with plywood, then frame it in. Once it's framed in, I'm going to put insulation in it and then cover that with drywall. I think that's what we want to do. I picked up a couple of windows from my uncle, who is a carpenter, and he had a job that he did in his house, and the windows were too small. So the inspector made him tear them out and put new ones in. So good for me, bad for him, cost him a lot of money, and he sold them to me for pretty cheap. So I've got these really nice insulated windows that I'm going to put in the front of the cabin here. There's one window there, and as you can see, we've already pulled the window and the frame out of this one. So when we get done with that, we'll put that window in there, and they're going to look pretty good. And then we'll put that second window, I think we're going to put that second window there in the side. And that one's pretty beat up, and it's missing the glass on one of them. So if we can get that one put in, we can at least shut the place up for when we leave. Hey, buddy. He's pretty excited to walk around and see stuff. So yeah, that's what we want to do. With this linoleum down here, I was originally going to go ahead and pull the linoleum up and use the flooring that's already there, but what I found out after getting underneath the cabin is that's the bottom. What you see on top is what's exposed to the ground underneath. So I'm going to cover that with a subfloor and then put new wood flooring on top of that. And I think that'll be a little bit safer than trying to sand through this. So I found out that it was built, once again, I think I already said, but I found out that it was built in 1931. So that means the paint, that's all painted blue, is all leaded paint, I'm sure. The last thing I want to do is start messing with that and poison my family. So we're just going to cover it all up and let it be inside the walls, and we'll only really have to worry about it as if the place burns down. So yeah, there we go. So there, once I get you can't see because of the light outside. Once I get that window there framed in, we got to go back down to the Lowe's and get more plywood. I didn't count right, and I was going to use it to cover the floor to begin with. But then I came up with the idea of just doing the walls and the ceilings as well. Just turn the whole thing into a box, particle board enclosed box inside. Get the windows framed in, put those in. Get some new doors, because these things are pretty beat up. Not insulated, old wood handmade doors. They've even got like the skeleton locks still on them. So we're going to redo that. I'm going to bust that wall down right there. Get the rest of this stuff out of here. I'm going to bust that wall down to bring the light in from the other side, because it's really dingy in here in the morning. You know what? It's actually really dingy in here all the time. So I want to open it up and get some more light in here. And another thing that's really going to help when I do that. Alright, so I started clearing some of the brush and the trees that go up along the side of this hill over here. Let me refocus this thing here. Okay, so once I started clearing the trees up here, opened up, and that stuff greened up real good through there. So that way we can get the mower back there and mow a little bit. I did get that door open up there. The only thing that's in there is nothing. I could see through to the other side, and there was like some boxes and stuff up there, but that didn't really bother me. So I could get in on the other side once I clear this. Hold on, I'll show you. I'll clear this brush out over here so I can get in. There's another door on this side. You can't really see it because of I can't get into the weeds. There's another door up there on that side. So we'll get up in there and get them boxes cleaned out and try to make sure that the brick chimneys that are supported up there, re-supported, and make sure they don't come crashing down on us when we're finally able to go inside and sit down and do whatever. So yeah, I got to clean this out back here and get all the brush out from behind. And that should be it for now. So stand by. I'll do another update here in a little while after we get the rest of that window and that other side, the whole side framed in. All right, thanks.